Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining virtually for the Cabarrus Center Celebration of Entrepreneurship. We are live here in Kannapolis at the Atrium Health Ballpark, which is the home of the Kannapolis Kannapolis baseball team. My name is Danielle Kuhn and I'm the community manager for the Cabarrus Center that will be opening in Concord in December of this year. I'm going to be your MC for today, and I'm going to lead you through a great group of guest presenters as well as some great content. Let me start by reminding you that while we are in presentation mode, which is what we are in now, your cameras and microphones will be disabled and will remain off until we return to networking mode at 1 p.m. So don't worry, I can't see or hear anything you're saying right now. If for some reason this platform cuts out, we're going to return back on Zoom and we're going to send you a Zoom link to your email address. So we're going to start with our first presenter. Our first guest that we will have here today is currently serving as the Interim Executive Director at the Cabarrus Economic Development Center. Paige Castrodale has been with the organization for almost 2 years, where she supports new business recruitment activity, oversees entrepreneurial development efforts, and works closely with the local companies to connect them to the resources they need to continue to be successful in Cabarrus County. Paige is going to share how we got where we are today with the Cabarrus Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm so glad to be here with you guys to be celebrating this event. This has been in the works for many, many months. In some ways, it's been in the works for years, and we are thrilled to be sharing this with you today. I wanted to take some time and just talk to you about how we actually got here. Back in 2007, some of the organizations in the community that work with businesses on a regular basis recognized that there could be more that we were doing to support entrepreneurs. And so there was a study that was commissioned to better understand entrepreneurial development in Cabarrus County. And what that study found was that even though there were many organizations that work with small businesses and existing businesses and entrepreneurs, there was a real lack of cohesion among those particular resources. And if you were someone with an idea, or if you were someone with a startup, it wasn't entirely clear where to go. More than that, we found in this study that there was a lack of access to capital, which if you are an entrepreneur or you work with entrepreneurs, you know that that is a critical piece of those early stage days for a company. It can really make or break a company. And so all of these things came out of this study, and ultimately the main recommendation was to bring these resources together, make it clear what resources were available in the community to support entrepreneurs, and ultimately establish a brick and mortar presence so that it was really clear to the community what was available for entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, it wasn't very long after that study was commissioned that it was 2008, it was a financial crisis, and that study was put on hold. It was recommissioned again in 2012, and the findings, despite everything that had happened over those few years, the findings really didn't change. That particular study, I think, has come in and out of focus over the years, primarily because there was no one organization that was equipped to carry that burden alone. Fast forward to early this year in January, the Economic Development Corporation recognized that while we do a great job of supporting established existing companies, that there were plenty of companies in earlier stages that we didn't have a ton of programming built to support those particular companies. And so we launched Grow Cabarrus, which, if you're not familiar with this particular initiative, it's focused on helping second stage companies who have essentially come out of that startup phase, but still need support and need help getting through to that next level where maybe things are a little bit more stable. And so we launched this program which connects businesses and business leaders with market research, with data that allows them to maybe find more customers or find areas of opportunity that they didn't necessarily see before, and really just connect them to research that businesses of this size often can't afford. And what we found whenever we were working with these companies is that not only was this a much needed resource, but there were also companies that were in even earlier stages who still did not have a ton of resources available to them. And so that was the moment where we, as the Economic Development Organization, decided that this needed to be part of our strategy moving forward, that entrepreneurship is just as much a part of economic development as recruiting larger companies. And so we started to think about how we could put everything that we knew to be true into practice in Cabarrus County. And about that time, we were introduced to Flywheel. Their model really resonated with us when we looked at the work that they do in other communities and the way that they support entrepreneurs. It checked all of the boxes that we had seen in this study that had been commissioned, at this point over 10 years ago. So we worked with them to find a property that made sense in Cabarrus County. And early on, Peter Marsh, who you'll hear from later on, said, who's the founder of Flywheel, said, this will not work unless the community comes together around the idea. And we, over the course of 6 months in a pandemic, were able to bring all of our resource partners together. And I think it just speaks to the collaboration that exists in Cabarrus County. And you'll hear from all of these different resource partners, but collectively we all decided, yes, this is important. Yes, this is something we need in our community, and let's make it happen. And that's how we got to where we are now. Over the summer, we announced the Cabarrus Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. One other thing I wanted to talk through is the timing of this. I mentioned that this has been in the works for a while, and even though behind the scenes we had been having these conversations for about a year, it wasn't until February or March that we decided with certainty that this project was going to come to life. And one of the questions that we heard often was, is this even relevant in a post-COVID world? If you look at co-working specifically, there are a lot of questions about whether or not this is sustainable now. You're hearing questions about the future of office work and the future of remote work. But Peter would tell you that co-working is alive and well, that his members are returning to the Flywheel facility across the state. They are attracting new members. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that those of us with children at home are probably tired of having to have Zoom calls with crying babies outside their door. But one other piece of this that I know to be true, the data that we've seen is that entrepreneurship supports economic recovery. And if you look at recessions in the past, many of these, what we would call unicorns, which are companies that are have a valuation of $1 billion or more, many of those were founded during a recession. And we want to be a community that is well positioned to support that type of economic recovery. More recently, there was a study out of Columbia that talked about the importance of entrepreneurship as it relates to economic recovery and how post-COVID the business formation rate has declined, and that's pointing to signs that maybe the recovery and the adaptation may not be at the levels that we want it to be. The quote that you hopefully see on your screen here is that a real recovery will be spurred by entrepreneurship. And we're seeing our peers across the state in economic development are wondering, how do we support entrepreneurs? What does that look like? And I'm so glad that we have been having these conversations already, that we're in a position to push this forward, and we'll be positioned later this year to really help our community and our economy come out of this by giving entrepreneurs a safe place to start new businesses. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm happy that you're interested in the work that we're doing, and I'll turn it back over to Danielle.
Thank you, Paige. Next on the main stage is the co-founder of Flywheel, Peter Marsh. Peter is an active entrepreneur and investor in startup companies through Flywheel New Ventures, and developed Flywheel's community building formula for ideation, structured development resources, and capital access for entrepreneurs. Peter Marsh is also a partner and co-owner of Workplace Architecture and Design. Based in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the firm has planned, designed, and managed the construction of all Flywheel locations and over 10 million square feet of commercial and institutional real estate, with over 500 completed projects nationwide, ranging from Miami to Seattle. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Paige, for such a wonderful way to frame up today's event. We are so excited to be here today and to be able to start the process of organizing all of the program partnerships that are going to energize the Cabarrus Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So I want to tell you a little bit about what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. Starting with what we do, we design and operate co-working innovation centers, and that means that there's a tangible place for entrepreneurs to come participate in events, have offices, participate in our co-working environments, and enjoy all of the co-located entrepreneurship programs that we will have at the Cabarrus Center. It's going to be located at 57 Union Street South in downtown Concord, 20,000 square feet of office suites, co-working environments, event space, and meeting rooms that are available not only for our members' use, but for that of the general community. So this center will be part of a network that Flywheel is in the process of building out. And our mission is to create a 3-state footprint and a network of at least 10 innovation centers by 2025. And we're really thrilled to have the Cabarrus Center join us as our 3rd location on the map. We started in Winston-Salem, so these are photographs of the work environments that we provide and the event spaces and so forth. We started in Winston-Salem in partnership with Wake Forest University and the Innovation Quarter, which is a very large innovation district development in downtown Winston-Salem. We were then invited to test our business model with Davidson College, and we were thrilled to be invited by Davidson College to design and operate the hub facility in downtown Davidson, which was our 2nd location, and offered the opportunity for us to validate that what our business model is all about was actually effective and working extremely well. So the Cabarrus Center is going to be located at 57 Union, and I'm going to quickly show you some minuscule floor plans that hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit of the detail of. But we have visual call-outs using renderings of some of the key spaces that we'll be offering in the environment. So this shot is of the social commons environment. This is the space that's adjacent to the main entry to the 57 South building that everyone will come through. And one thing we've learned in designing these innovation centers is you want to design for serendipitous interactions, and by having this space right off the main entry and adjacent to Danielle's space as the community manager, we're able to create these unplanned interactions that are so important to innovation activity. And then in addition to that, we will have a large event space that can seat 50 at tables and close to 100 auditorium style. And this is really the heartbeat of the Innovation Center. This is where the majority of our larger programs are going to be executed, whether it's an accelerator, a workshop, a seminar, a lot of which you'll be hearing about by the program partners that follow me today. And then most importantly, obviously, is providing a home not only for some of our program partners, so the economic development officials, the chamber, and the Small Business Center are all taking spaces within the Innovation Center. But we've got lots of office suites, lots of co-working areas, and community environments that entrepreneurs in Cabarrus County can use as members of Flywheel. It's almost like a YMCA for working. And we have a variety of membership plans that you can check out on the Cabarrus Center website or on the Flywheel website. So the reason we do it, so let's talk about why we do what we do. We're interested in actually creating economic development throughput by creating organically the opportunity for companies to form, grow, and succeed using the resources of our innovation centers. And this slide shows you some of the results that we've gotten already with our first 2 locations. Now we're expanding to serving multiple markets, and we're on target for our 2020 projections. So what we're about, it's not the space, it's not the infrastructure, it's what happens in the space. It's about the people and the community that we curate and cultivate to support entrepreneurship in the communities that we serve. We do it through a playbook that we've refined, and our business model is to focus on smaller markets, not the huge markets like New York, San Francisco, Austin, Texas, which are known as very large tech hubs, but to focus on smaller markets where there's an opportunity to co-locate everyone that's interested in entrepreneurship into an innovation center and create these kind of job creation and company creation activities. So we've refined this into an actual operational model that we can deliver quickly to a community such as Concord and the Cabarrus County, and we're just thrilled to have the opportunity to come and serve. We also have a foundation. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, which means it's has a charitable purpose. And the mission of our foundation is to promote universal access and diverse opportunity to enter the entrepreneurship pipeline. Our foundation underwrites the majority of the programming that we offer, and our foundation will also be offering micro-grant programs and other means for entrepreneurs in Cabarrus County to enter the capital stack, to get grant-based and private equity-based investment capital access so that they can get their ideas off the ground and get them into growth stage. The way we do this, essentially what we've discovered is a formula that works really well in communities like Cabarrus County, and that is to co-locate program partners, stimulate ideation with a variety of educational curriculum and event activities, develop structured development through mentor networks, accelerator programs, and many of the resources that you're going to be hearing about shortly, and then provide access to capital, whether it's dilutive or non-dilutive. It's really important to have capital access for these entrepreneurs to get their ideas off the ground. We will be bringing that to the community in the form of our new ventures program, and we will also be bringing it to the community in conjunction with our program partners. So I'm pleased to announce today that Flywheel is going to be offering a micro-grant program. We're going to provide details on this at the next event, at our October event. But essentially, we're going to be offering five $5,000 micro-grant programs to early stage entrepreneurs that are pretty much at the idea stage that want to get their ideas off the ground. As a prerequisite for applying for the micro-grant program, we're offering 2 of our courses out of our larger suite of course curriculum. The first being How to Find Your Startup, which is a course that's all about ideation, and the second being Lean Startup Practices, which is a curriculum that helps entrepreneurs get from idea to repeatable revenue as quickly as possible and with a minimum deployment of resources. So that's all I wanted to really talk about today, and without further ado, I want to invite our next speaker up, and Danielle is going to make the introduction. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you, Peter. So our special guest today is Commissioner Steve Morris. Steve was elected to the Board of Commissioners in 2012 and became chair in 2014. He owns and operates the Gem Theater in Kannapolis, and he has lived in Cabarrus County his entire life, growing up in Kannapolis and currently residing in Concord. Steve served on the board of directors of the Cabarrus Regional Chamber of Commerce and is a past chair of the board. He is a charter member, past president, and Paul Harris Fellow of the Cabarrus Rotary Club. He serves on the board of directors of the Academic Learning Center, the Cabarrus Partnership for Children, the Cannon Memorial YMCA, the Cabarrus Board of Health, and serves on the board of trustees of Rowan Cabarrus Community College. Morris's previous community involvement included board leadership for the American Red Cross, Cabarrus County Chapter, Cabarrus Advisory Board, Friends of the Kannapolis Cabarrus Library, Kannapolis Chamber of Commerce, Kannapolis Economic Development Corporation, and the Kannapolis Kiwanis Club. He also served as board member for the Barber Scotia College Board of Visitors, Cabarrus Library System, Cabarrus Economic Development Corporation, Piedmont Preservation Foundation, Residents of Historic Concord, and the United Way of Central Carolinas. The Cabarrus Regional Chamber of Commerce honored Morris as their 2012 Citizen of the Year. He is a graduate of A.L. Brown High School, attended NC State University, and received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. He is a member of Trinity United Methodist Church in Kannapolis and father of 2 adult children, Mallory and Hunter. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Steve Morris to the stage.
Great. Thank you, Danielle. I'll pull this mask off and certainly want to compliment everybody here for being safe and social distancing and wearing their mask today, which we're all conscious of nowadays. But this is truly an exciting day here in Cabarrus County as we talk about the Cabarrus Center. For any of you that know me, that know that when I first ran for office in 2012, economic development was a primary interest that I had. And having been involved in those activities in Cabarrus County for a number of years, I truly saw how important that was, that we create jobs for our citizens and build tax base here in the county. Our folks at the Economic Development Corporation have done a tremendous job in being successful in that regard. I think during the time that I've been in office, over $800 million in new investment, in excess of 4,000 jobs that benefit the people of Cabarrus County. But we still hear a lot of our small businesses ask, you know, how do I benefit from this? Are there programs that I can be involved in? My answer to that question has always been, as a small business person myself, anytime that we create jobs and prosperity for citizens in Cabarrus County, those are my customers. Anytime that they have a job that they can come and see a movie and buy popcorn is the benefit that I receive from these other companies that we bring to our area. This is an opportunity to offer something much more concrete to those small businesses and those startups. And I'm learning a great deal today as I listen to our speakers, just as the rest of you. We've long had very successful programs with existing industry here in Cabarrus County, and I think this also offers new opportunities for them as well. One of the primary focuses of our Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners has been in collaboration, trying to form relationships with other elected bodies in Cabarrus County, our municipalities, our school boards, and others. And I think that what is happening here sets a wonderful example for all of us. You can see all the logos that are on the screen behind us today that truly gives you an idea of the number of different partners that are involved in this effort. I can't think of anything else in our community that has quite so many people working together. I'd also like to speak to the location of this Cabarrus Center. Downtown Concord, immediately adjacent to our historic Cabarrus County Courthouse, which houses our Arts Council, which brings a lot of good to our community, and right next door to the construction site of our new Cabarrus County Courthouse. This represents a major investment for the county to meet the needs of our future courts and to take care of our growing population here in Cabarrus County. One of the features that we are most proud of about this courthouse construction project is the public plaza that will be located adjacent to the Cabarrus Center. We think this will be a major gathering place for people in the county, and to have this activity going on right next door is certainly a big plus. It's great that we are here in downtown Kannapolis as we kick this effort off, which truly indicates to folks that this is a county-wide effort that's going to benefit all of our municipalities. I think that what we have here is something that is unique in the region. There are a lot of other programs, but I know of none that have the cooperation of as many organizations as we do here. Peter had talked about the grant programs that will be available, the access to capital. These are all things that will benefit folks wanting to start up a business here in Cabarrus County. I recently read a book called The $1 Billion Brand Club, and it talked about lots of entrepreneurs and the success that they had experienced, particularly in the online area. And I could not help but think, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had opportunities here in Cabarrus County, or ways to make those ventures easier and more successful for folks here. And I think that we have that now. And so I am extremely excited about what this is going to bring to our community, the prosperity that it's going to bring to individuals, and the jobs that will be created for our citizens. A lot of times we talk about our big companies that come in that have 300 to 500 jobs, or perhaps even more. And those are wonderful, and we want to continue to do that. But when we also have an entrepreneur that creates 3 jobs, those individual jobs are as important to each of the people that benefit from those jobs as the large ones are. So we're terribly excited about what's happening here today. I think that the platform that we are presenting this meeting on, that I'm talking to you from today, is an indication of the professionalism and the technological advances that these folks have taken advantage of. It's the most sophisticated one that I've been involved in. So there are tremendous opportunities all the way around that we're all excited about, and it has certainly been my pleasure to participate in this meeting today. And Danielle, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Much appreciated. All right, so as Steve mentioned, we have a backdrop here that you'll see on your screen right now. And in addition to Flywheel and the Cabarrus Economic Development Corporation, we have brought together a group of program partners to create an Entrepreneurship Council with the goal of creating a strong network of resources for the community. We're going to spend the next hour individually speaking with these representatives from the organization to learn more about who they are and how they're going to work together with the Cabarrus Center. So our first program partner today is going to be Barbie Jones. Barbie joined the Chamber, leading business of Cabarrus, as Executive Director in 2016. Noting the importance of workforce development, the Chamber became a founding partner of the Cabarrus County Career Technical Education Advisory Board that Barbie currently chairs. Prior to her work at the Chamber, Barbie was the Chief Communications and Engagement Officer for the United Way Central Carolinas, where she oversaw strategic communications, volunteer engagement, and public community relations. Additionally, she worked for the United Way of Central Carolinas, Cabarrus County, Craven & Company Realtors, and the Habitat for Humanity, Cabarrus County. A native of Durham, North Carolina, she holds a bachelor's in journalism public relations from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. A longtime resident of Concord, Barbie is married to Craig Jones, and they have 2 grown sons and the most adorable dog ever, Eleanor May. Good morning, Barbie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Danielle. Thanks for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Yes, we are very happy to be in person as much as we can here, even though we have a fantastic group joining us virtually. Could you share with us a little bit more about the Chamber and how you see collaboration with the Cabarrus Center?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. First of all, I want to thank Steve Morris for his remarks and thank him for the great job that you've done chairing our commission and the work that our current commissioners have done to really drive forth economic development in Cabarrus County. So Steve, thank you very much. The Chamber was actually founded over 70 years ago and has been supporting businesses in Cabarrus County since then. Obviously, like any small business, we have evolved and changed to be able to suit the needs of our members. And we look at our strengths as being we're advocates for small businesses. We work very closely with public policy, with our local, state, federal legislators to make sure that they are informed of the business needs of businesses of all sizes within Cabarrus County. We do a lot on education. A lot of our members are very small businesses who might not have an HR department. They probably don't have a public policy advocate. They need the information and updates in order to help their businesses grow. And so we provide that through webinars and communications. We do a ton of marketing through our website and our social media. And then probably what our chamber is best known for is our networking. Obviously, COVID has thrown a little kink in that, or a hitch in your giddy up, as my father would say. So that's been a little rough but we have learned to compensate by using Zoom and other platforms to be able to communicate with our members and make sure that we are, even though you may be feeling alone, you're not alone, you're still part of our chamber. We do business after hours once a month. Usually if we're able to do it in person, we have around 80 to 100 people for that. Cabarrus Connections is a small group networking group, which allows a little more intimate setting, a little more one-on-one, a chance to get to know people more in depth. And then Women Leading Cabarrus, which is our group that is focusing on women in business in Cabarrus County. And then we do usually 2 very large events, our annual meeting, which is traditionally held in February, and our Brew and Q, which is beer and barbecue, straight up, that's what it is, and networking. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have that this year due to COVID, but we are doing a virtual one that is guaranteed to be really great. So the way that the chamber sees interacting with the Cabarrus Center is to be able to connect all of these resources, connect all of these folks to existing businesses in the community. We know that startup companies need extra support. We are thrilled that the Cabarrus Center will be able to offer that. It's something that the chamber just has not had the bandwidth or, quite honestly, the knowledge to be able to help. Flywheel coming in is going to fill that gap for our community. We'll help them get integrated and connected. The EDC will help them find a new home in Cabarrus County. So we see that as just being a great partnership. The other partners also have so many resources that the chamber doesn't necessarily have, but by working together, we feel like we can kind of be a one-stop shop for our businesses of all sizes to be able to grow and just make Cabarrus County better for everyone.
Sounds fantastic. And you do plan to take space in the Cabarrus Center, is that correct?
We absolutely do. We're very excited. We have a lease that expires in December of 2021, and after that we will be co-locating there with our sisters, the Economic Development Council. And one thing by co-locating with the EDC in the same building that we are, we're able to work together on projects a lot, and we can just see that tenfold. Once you come in with all of these folks at the table, the possibilities are unlimited.
Absolutely, and we can do it virtually, but we're looking forward to doing that as we can organically collaborate in the space.
Absolutely.
Speaking of virtual, you have your State of the Region Summit coming up. Could you share a little bit more about the event and how to register for those that want to attend?
Absolutely, would love to. So as I mentioned earlier, education is a huge component of chamber membership. And so a few times a year we offer our State of the Region Summits. And this year we're doing 2 parts. The first part will be on September 23rd, and it is virtual. You can register at cabarrus.biz. But we're doing 3 parts of it. The first part are just updates. Where are we with COVID as a community? We're going to have Atrium and Cabarrus Health Alliance talk about where we are. What is this about a twindemic, I guess is what they're calling it, with the chance of flu? How can we prevent that from coming? What are the things we need to know about as business owners? We'll have an update from the North Carolina Research Campus, which we're a part of today. And then the EDC will be doing kind of follow-ups to today, to what is the Cabarrus Center. And for the folks that aren't on the meeting today, how can they get involved with that? We'll have a second section that's going to be a General Assembly candidate forum. We have 2 House seats in the General Assembly and a Senate seat that are up, and we're going to have the incumbents and the challengers to talk through their platforms for that. And then we'll end the session with lessons learned from COVID. What is it that we need to have learned from this, and how do we how have some of our businesses pivoted to be able to grow their businesses actually during this time, and how can what they've learned help other people? So that'll be the first session in September. We'll follow up with another one in November that will be an election recap, as well as a deep dive into transportation and infrastructure.
Well, I'm excited to register for that and get to learn more. I really am looking forward to having everyone in this space. We have a short time with each individual organization today, but just to give everyone a heads up, we will have this networking portion at the end where you can visit with Barbie at her table specifically to be able to chat a little bit more and go in depth about any questions that you have about the chamber. So Barbie, thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, again, make sure to click on excuse me, the individual virtual business cards, and you'll be able to see contact information as well. So we'll go through each program partner, but just to give you a little idea that you won't, this isn't all you'll hear from Barbie today. You'll be able to visit her at a table and you'll be able to reach out to her afterwards. So thank you, Barbie.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I will share a little bit more about Paige while we welcome her to the stage. Prior to her role as the interim executive director at the Cabarrus Economic Development Corporation, Paige spent over 10 years in marketing, communications, and business development roles. She is a North Carolina native and a graduate of UNC Chapel Hill. She spent 7 years living up and down the East Coast while her husband Andrew served in the Navy. They now call Concord home and live just outside of downtown with their four children. Thank you, Paige, for joining us again.
Thank you, Danielle. When I talked about crying babies outside of doors during Zoom calls, I was talking about my actual crying babies outside of my bedroom door. I wanted to spend a little bit of time. I know I talked about what the Cabarrus Center is, but I wanted to talk specifically about the Economic Development Corporation and what we do in the community and why we feel that it's so important that we be part of this effort. So Cabarrus EDC is the lead economic development organization for the county and all of its 5 municipalities. And I think for most of you, you probably think about business recruitment, and that is a lot of what we do. We work with companies who are considering a relocation, who are thinking about either moving their location or expanding. We work with them to attract them to Cabarrus County and show them all that we have to offer here. We also work with existing companies to connect them to the resources that they might need, whether it's related to workforce or if they're undergoing an expansion, making sure that they have what they need to make that process easier. I would say for us, we see entrepreneurship as the third leg of this stool. We see the data that shows that entrepreneurs often create quality, high-wage jobs, and we know that our community will benefit from that. As someone who not only works in Cabarrus County but also is raising a family in Cabarrus County, I see economic development as one of the most, I would say probably the primary tool for improving our community's health and vibrancy. I see the tax investment that companies generate. I see that going back to the schools. I see it going to the parks. I see it improving our overall quality of life. I see the jobs that we create as a way for folks who live in Cabarrus County to be able to work and live here. I see it as a way to keep my own kids in Cabarrus County 20 years from now as they're looking for jobs. So for me, it's personal. But I also see the benefit of entrepreneurship in improving the entire ecosystem for business in any stage.
Well, you took all my questions away. No, just kidding. So thank you for really sharing about how it impacts you personally and professionally. When it comes to professionally, you all are getting a space in the Cabarrus Center as well. Why do you feel that that's important to be in the space and not only just a program partner contributing from the outside?
Absolutely. So for us, it was a no-brainer. When we work with companies who are considering Cabarrus County as their new home, we often bring them in for meetings. We're showing them real estate options in the community. We're showing them what the schools look like, what the community college system looks like, what it would look like for them to do business here. And we want to bring them to a space that represents the type of innovation and the type of forward thinking that we see in the Cabarrus Center. We think that it just shows the community very well. It's in the county seat, right in the middle of the county. So in terms of being able to show them other parts of our community, it's a great location. But we also want to be able to show them the collaboration. I think you've heard several times now different folks talking about this effort is so collaborative, and that's important because we want companies, whether they're thinking about moving here or they're growing here or they're thinking about starting here, we want them to see that they will be surrounded by a network of partners who work together, all with the common goal of making it easier for them to do business here.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to be there with you. For those who are listening virtually right now that are outside of Cabarrus County, could you share some of those highlights of what would bring you into the county if you're looking to start a business here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, the state of North Carolina in general is consistently named one of the best places to do business, primarily because of the quality of life and just the general cost of doing business. And I would say that's absolutely true in Cabarrus County. We benefit from being so close to Charlotte and close to Mecklenburg County and all of the resources that are available there. But what that means for us in Cabarrus County is that it's cheaper to live here. It's slightly cheaper to do business here. And so if you're looking for access to a major airport, if you're looking for access to rail, or if you're looking for internet access that will allow you to move your product up and down the coast easily, most folks are certainly putting the Charlotte area on their short list. And for us in Cabarrus County, we can talk about how good our schools are. We can talk about affordability. We can talk about a community that, again, works together to support businesses. And so that's typically the refrain when we're meeting with these companies. It's difficult to communicate that particular aspect of a community when you're having a meeting with folks like that. But I think the center will really do a good job of, again, just demonstrating how our community comes together to support businesses.
Great, thank you. And for someone that is outside of Cabarrus County myself, it's really good to hear those things.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about the Economic Development Corporation or the partnership with Cabarrus County?
Yeah, I would just say, you know, stay informed not only about what we're doing here, but in general. Our organization has taken more of an effort. We've been more intentional over the last year to educate folks on exactly what economic development does and why it's important. And when we talk about a company that is moving to the area and they're bringing those additional taxes and they're bringing those additional jobs, we want to make it really clear how impactful that is. And so, you know, stay on top of the information that we're putting out there. We want to be as transparent as we can be with all of that. I can tell you that we've been busy the last month, and that's very encouraging. We obviously, I think like most of you in the business community, have seen things slow down a bit over the last 6 months, but we have seen things are starting to pick up, and Cabarrus County is a popular destination for companies who are looking to make a move. And so we've been busy as ever, and we hope to have some good news and announcements for you here in the next couple of weeks and months.
Thank you, Paige. Again, you can ask Paige all the questions you want. She's going to be joining her table in the networking portion.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jenny Buchholz. Jenny is the founder and CEO of Haven Creative, a community branding agency based in the Charlotte region. Haven Creative specializes in developing strategic marketing and communication campaigns for government entities, nonprofits, and other community building organizations. Over the last 10 years, Jenny has helped these organizations connect the dots from design to messaging to strengthening the community within and around their brand. Some of Haven's local clients include the town of Waxhaw, Union County, Gaston County, City of Hickory, and the town of Matthews. Jenny is also the communications chair of the Entrepreneurs Organization Accelerator Charlotte Chapter and is a third-year EOA participant. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Could you share with us a little bit about your story and how it ties into the Entrepreneur Organization Accelerator Program?
Sure. So a little over almost 8 years ago now, I moved to the Charlotte region from Los Angeles and decided to start my business. Did not know what I was doing, did not know if it would ever scale or be anything more than what it was of me and a laptop. And then I discovered EO Accelerator. And what that is really an accountability kind of group that I meet with monthly. And then I have quarterly learning days where I've learned to set measurable goals for my business and scale it and actually make something from it. And so I hired my first few employees from there, and year over year we've just grown exponentially. And so that's where we are today.
That is fantastic to hear. Could you share a little bit how you feel the Entrepreneur Organization is going to participate with the Cabarrus Center?
Yeah, I think it's all really about creating a sense of community, right? Because the more you have that community around you, the more you're going to excel and grow in an organization. So we would look to kind of work with Cabarrus County and economic development to really build that mentorship camaraderie amongst all the groups to help these businesses survive and thrive.
Well, as a transplant myself, coming from upstate New York, it is definitely helpful to have that community. And finding that in EO, I'm sure, was extremely helpful. And I know that that's going to be something that we pull into the Cabarrus Center as well. You have that community of individuals. You find that belongingness of some sort of similarities that you have, and then that helps you become a better you. So I'm excited to hear that you have that within EO and how we can incorporate that within the Cabarrus Center. So what is one piece of practical advice that you would give someone starting their own business?
Don't do it alone. Find a mentorship, either a mentor or a membership organization that you can be part of. And I truly mean that in all sense of being an entrepreneur can be very lonely. And so again, going back to community, if you have someone that you can share your experiences with that understand you at a different level than maybe your neighbor or friend that doesn't have a business, that can't maybe communicate on the struggles that you have and the way that you have them, it's very hard to grow and continue in your business. So having any kind of those organizations be a part of is huge.
Well, that's great. And we have two representatives from the EO organization here today with us, Jenny and Brian, and they're both going to be taking part in the networking portion as well. So you have the opportunity to meet both of them as you move about the space. Is there anything else that you feel you'd like to share about the EO program that may be a misconception or something that you'd really like to leave the audience with?
Well, actually, I think we have a great story. It's just not being told enough regionally. EO is actually a global organization with more than 11,000 members. And then the Accelerator program is really meant for those smaller businesses from 250 to, they're trying to get to 1 million. So it's servicing those businesses that don't otherwise have resources available to them, but it's global. So it's got a great reach and a lot of resources.
That's fantastic that we can partner with you within this program, because as Peter mentioned, we're looking to extend Flywheel around the different regions as well. So if we can continue to use those partnerships, it's going to be fantastic.
Great. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jenny. Look forward to networking with you this afternoon.
Sounds good.
Next, with our program partners, we have Adrian Smith. Adrian is the Executive Director of the Flywheel Foundation and Director of New Ventures Accelerator. Adrian is from Winston-Salem and believes that entrepreneurship and finance can change the world. He has a deep passion for agricultural, energy, and social innovation. Adrian studied sustainable agriculture at Warren Wilson College and received an MBA in entrepreneurial finance from the University of Colorado. Adrian currently lives in Winston-Salem with his fiance, up until this weekend, dog, and 4 chickens. Welcome, Adrian. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So I touched a little bit on that weekend. Sorry to put you on the spot there, but I heard that you're getting married this weekend.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited.
Congratulations. So you are probably pretty busy. We'll get this going and we'll move forward. So for those who have never heard of the Flywheel Foundation or New Ventures, could you share what they are and what your role is?
Sure. Yeah, so I serve 2 roles in the ecosystem. First, as the Executive Director of the Flywheel Foundation, where I help to develop new, robust programs to serve entrepreneurs and then deploy those programs both at our Flywheel locations and then more generally across kind of our region. Kind of related, I serve as the Accelerator Director for New Ventures Startup Accelerator, which is a traditional equity-based accelerator program. For those of you who don't know what that is, there's 5 key components. First, investment. So we make typically about $50,000 equity investments where we buy a percentage of the company. Second, they're cohort-based. So we typically bring on 5 companies each year, and they go through the program together. Third, there's a very strong curriculum. So we have a 12-week curriculum that I walk through all the companies with. Fourth, it's got a clear start and end date. So our program is 12 weeks. And then finally, there's a public demo day. It's coming up on November 12th and 13th.
Thank you. So how will members of the Cabarrus Center have opportunity to get involved with the foundation and New Ventures?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have lots of different ways to get involved. Actually, a couple of them are coming up in the next 2 months. So first is Techstars Startup Weekend, which will be October 16th, 17th, and 18th. That's an online startup weekend where you'll have an opportunity to pitch a brand new idea and then spend 3 days with a new team, developing that idea and pitching it at the end of the weekend to an expert panel of judges. So you can kind of dip your toe in the water of entrepreneurship. The second upcoming program is Triad Startup Demo Day, where we'll have 2 full days of programming around equity and diversity in entrepreneurship and venture capital at the national level. We'll learn about global innovation in developing countries and what we can learn from those models and bring home. We'll then have a global impact pitch competition, which is the first inaugural pitch competition that we're holding, where you can hear from teams from all around the world, and they'll be able to kind of interact and win prizes. Second day is going to be a mix of the New Ventures cohort presenting their final pitches for investment, alongside of the Builders and Backers program, which is led by Donna Harris out of 1776 Ventures.
Well, great. Those all sound exciting, and we'll leave that with Adrian so he can share more at his table and tell you how you can register for those. So I have a question for you, Adrian. What is your favorite part about working with entrepreneurs?
Their passion. It's incredible to see the new ideas and the dogged determination that these entrepreneurs bring. I feel tired at the end of the week, but I have no idea what they're going through, because many of them are doing this nights and weekends as they bootstrap their companies. They have full-time jobs, they have families, and then they have this idea and they can't let it go. And they just work constantly to make that a reality, and it's extremely inspiring to me.
You end up being an additional teammate for all of these businesses, pretty much. You're the sixth man of all the businesses. Have you ever started your own business or been an entrepreneur yourself?
I have, several times. After undergrad, I started a landscape design and install firm. So I did largely hardscapes and kind of full remodels for residential landscapes. Before I entered my MBA program, I attempted a startup. There was a food subscription box mixed with Top Chef, and quickly learned that I really didn't know what I was doing. After graduating, I started a dye house with my fiance, soon-to-be wife, where we contracted with regional farmers to grow madder, weld, and indigo. And we processed that into dye stuff, which we use to dye finished garments for indie fashion brands. I am currently kind of in due diligence and potentially buying a lifestyle business here in Winston-Salem.
Wow. I didn't know what I was going to get out of that question, but I got a lot out of that, so thank you. It's a great way to see how you're bringing your background and your passions all together, and you can help support other individuals to do the same. Find what they like, find what they enjoy, and hopefully make that into something that they can monetize, ideally. Is there anything else you'd like to share about how you're going to work together with the Cabarrus Center and what you envision that looking like?
Yeah, so I'm super excited about everything that's happening here in Cabarrus County. My background is in agriculture and renewable energy, and I know that there's a lot of resources in this region, particularly around food innovation. So we are really interested in kind of replicating the New Ventures program here around industry verticals. I'm really just eager to kind of dive in and get to know the entrepreneurs on the ground here. I think, having a multi-site approach through Flywheel, we can kind of be the connective tissue between various regions and bring a variety of resources to the table to serve any entrepreneur, whether they're Main Street or if they're a startup, whether they're at the idea stage or the growth stage. So if you are an entrepreneur, please reach out to me. I'll be at the Flywheel table, and I really want to talk to you.
Well, great. Well, we have, you mentioned food innovation. We do have one of our program partners that is with the North Carolina Food Innovation Lab, who we'll be introducing soon. So it would be great for you to connect with him as well.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Adrian. We need to get you to your wedding this weekend. So you can join him at the Flywheel table, as he mentioned, and feel free to connect with him as well.
Thanks, Danielle.
So thank you. Susan Jones is the regional manager at the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, representing the greater Charlotte area. She is a longtime resident of Cabarrus County and has engaged with the North Carolina Research Campus in Kannapolis since its 2008 opening. Prior to joining the center, Susan worked as an architectural project manager, construction permit expediter, and retail store planner. She executed a career transition through continuing education at Rowan Cabarrus Community College after utilizing their R3 Center services, designed to help navigate to better jobs. Susan earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering with concentration in Motorsports Engineering from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and an Associate of Applied Science in Biotechnology at Rowan Cabarrus Community College. She also completed the Basic Economic Development course at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill School of Government. Susan enjoys traveling, exploring national parks, and active involvement in local, regional, and international fly fishing organizations. Welcome, Susan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Danielle. We're happy to be here, and we're really excited to partner with the Cabarrus Center on this endeavor.
The feelings are mutual here. So you're very familiar with this area.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the NC Biotech Center and what that looks like in Kannapolis right now?
Okay, so we were founded over 35 years ago now, and we're headquartered in Durham at the Research Triangle Park. However, we decided it is the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, not just the RTP Biotechnology Center. And so regional offices were established. I represent the Greater Charlotte office. We have a 11 county footprint, and that does encompass Cabarrus County. And so we have been working on and off at different points in the process of the development of this campus since prior to 2008. And we've worked closely with the researchers in the different labs here. We've awarded several grants through our internal grant and loan programs. And our mission at the center is to accelerate life sciences, technology-based economic development. And we do that through innovation, commercialization, education, and business growth.
Wow. Well, so you've seen a lot of the change in this area, the development in Kannapolis, Cabarrus County in general. So I'm sure that you've been involved in hearing about how all of these different areas are growing. How do you see the Cabarrus Center impacting the community at large and specifically the Concord area?
I see it as more than just a place to park. This is going to go beyond just a physical lab space, which, by the way, we do need more spec space and more physical lab space in the region. I know we're not going to have any wet lab space at this particular location, but the value add are in the programming that you offer, whether it's through the mentorship, coaching, networking events. That is one thing that computers have not been able to do better than us yet, and that is networking and actually getting out there and talking to people. So thankful to see this virtual event come online today. We've been able to work throughout this and working with our partners. You know, we're starting to advance into from the response to this pandemic into the economic recovery phase, and it's great to be here today.
That is so great to hear. I know that we all have been tested by this virtual world, and
Yes.
being able to find ways to still collaborate, still bring that community together is extremely important. So to see you, this what feels like post-COVID pickup for you is fantastic. So you personally made a career transition, and a lot of people may be going through that right now or thinking about going through it. Could you share a piece of advice with the group today that you might give someone thinking about or going through that right now?
Absolutely. Don't lose hope. Number one, don't lose hope. There are people in your network and beyond your network that want to help you succeed. Rowan Cabarrus Community College was a huge part of my transition. I was coming out of a terrible economic scenario, just the economy in general. We were losing jobs. We had just that major dip there, and it was kind of daunting to even think of changing a career. My position would have been eliminated several months after I left to go ahead and further my education. And I started right here in downtown Kannapolis at the Rowan Cabarrus R3 Center, and that helped identify, use your resources. We have a wealth of knowledge here in this area, and they're at no cost to most people that are residents of the county. So use that network.
And I think that's what we're trying to do, is bring this network together so that way people can still find their own partners and resources on their own, but we can provide that with the Cabarrus Center and all of these program partners that are here today to be able to be that support and use then who we know to be able to continue that networking in and outside of Cabarrus County. So thank you for sharing
Absolutely.
that. Is there anything else that you really would like to share that we haven't heard yet about the Biotech Center or about the center in general?
Well, the best thing to do is to reach out to us. We've got 2 representatives in the Greater Charlotte region, and we're all working virtually. So we are here to help you. It works best if you just, if you're in the life sciences field, even if you're not in biotechnology, there's a pretty good chance that we know somebody that we can connect you with to keep your needs going, to keep your dreams going. So we have such a vast platform of services. Just email us, we'll get back with you, set up a phone call, we'll find out what your gaps, what your needs, what's holding you up from moving your project forward, and we can connect you to the right folks.
Well, thank you for mentioning that, because for me, biotechnology feels a little bit over my head, so I'm sure some folks listening now might be a little bit fearful of that as well. So it's great to know that you're there to support anyone who just maybe doesn't know where to turn to. So thank you for sharing that. Susan will be at the table today in the networking portion, so you can be sure to ask her some more questions there. So thank you so much, Susan. We really appreciate you being here today, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
Our next presenter is Bill Amutis. Bill is currently Executive Director of the North Carolina Food Innovation Lab, managed by Carolina State University, on the North Carolina Research Campus in Kannapolis. Bill's team works with entrepreneurial and multinational companies on plant-based food product development and scale up in a pilot plant operating under GMP standards. An Indiana native, Bill received a Bachelor of Science degree in Food Science at Purdue University and graduate's degrees from Virginia Polytech Institute and State University in the Food Science Department. Bill is a certified food scientist, fellow of the American Dairy Science Association, and a distinguished agricultural alumni from both Purdue University and Virginia Tech. Bill has been invited to speak at numerous meetings about innovation and investments in the agricultural and food industries. He also serves on industry advisory committees for food science, the Agricultural Innovation Forum, and Cabarrus Entrepreneurship Alliance. Additionally, Bill is on several corporate scientific advisory and managing boards. Well, Bill, you are a busy man. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dana.
So I know that Adrian was bringing up a little bit about the interest in food innovation. Could you share with us the NC Food Innovation Lab, what that is, and how it relates with Kannapolis and the Cabarrus County?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So North Carolina Food Innovation Lab, or NC-PHIL as we abbreviate it, it's kind of a mouthful to say all at once, is a plant-based food-focused facility that's a fee-for-service group. It's a partnership between the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, North Carolina Research Campus, the Economic Development Partnership in North Carolina, and NC State University. We work with entrepreneurs as well as multinational food companies that have an interest in developing plant-based foods. Usually an entrepreneur will come to us with 1 or 2 really good ideas, but if they're going to be pursuing funding today, we've been encouraging entrepreneurs to actually start thinking about a portfolio of products. Once we have some idea of what their products will look like and we can develop them in our product development laboratory, we can then further scale them up and get them ready for manufacture. A lot of entrepreneurs are at that stage 2 when we work with them. They've already had a product that they've been selling at various farmers markets or in small community stores, but they now feel like they want to move ahead and get into the big leagues, so to speak. Since we're at the ballpark, we use that baseball analogy. But that step up from being at the farmer's market or a small community store to the national branding is a big challenge. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize when they jump into it that 99% of all food products fail. So it helps to have somebody that's been experienced in the food industry help get the products out into the market.
Wow, that's a pretty alarming stat. Are there any misconceptions about the NC-PHIL, and could you share what those might be so that way we can communicate when talking about NC-PHIL more as a program partner? How can you share that with us?
Sure. Misconceptions, it's a good question. A lot of people feel that because we are funded by the General Assembly and have partnerships with various governmental agencies in the state, we are a free service. I'll emphasize that we are a fee-for-service organization. We don't charge a daily rate like a lot of or similar organizations. A few other universities have very similar facilities like ours, but they don't operate under good manufacturing practices to begin with. Secondly, we'll talk to an entrepreneur or food company about what projects they want to do. And from there, we can start figuring out a budget. And we'll charge them through the equipment and the labor they're going to use rather than a flat daily fee.
That is great. Definitely, I'm glad I asked that. That was something that I was unsure of, so I'm sure many out there were as well. So what has been your most favorite entrepreneur story that has come out of the Innovation Lab? Or I guess maybe best food.
Well, we have several foods we're working on today, and beverages are a very hot area right now for a lot of people. So we've had the opportunity to do a little bit of work with a couple of new diets that are coming out over the next few months, and those products will be launching with some of that publicity when it finally does get launched. We're working with another entrepreneurial company out of Charlotte that has a very clean label pancake syrup and a very clean label pancake mix. We've been doing quite a bit of work with a couple of mushroom growers here in the state. So there's been a lot of favorites. It's hard to say you one favorite over another. It's kind of like your children. You may have one you may favor a little bit, but they're not really your favorite at the end of the day.
Favorite at certain times when you want it. So with this, with COVID on us over the last few months, have you seen any type of change in trends within food and beverage, or have you seen anything starting to pick up throughout the rest of the year?
We're seeing quite a few trends that have occurred. I mean, COVID was a tidal wave to the food industry, first of all. I mean, food manufacturing had to adapt to wearing these things all the time and socially distancing. But what we are seeing the consumers doing today is they are going to comfort foods. So chocolate sales were up about 45% during COVID. Alcohol sales were up 40 to 45%. But I think as we come out of this, people will still continue to eat healthy. And they're looking for foods that will stimulate their immune response, quite frankly. So we think that as we move through the next couple of years, personalized nutrition, personalized foods, personalized diets, and exercise combinations will become much more important from an industrial point of view.
That's so interesting to think that you have kind of both ends of the spectrum, the comfort food and those heartier foods, but you also have the health conscious foods both going on during the same time. And I know I've kind of gone back and forth during these last few months of wanting to know where do I fit on that spectrum of my food and diet. So I'm sure everyone else has as well. When it comes to the community interacting with the NC Food Innovation Lab, if they're not in the food and beverage industry, are there ways that they can participate, support, sponsor? Is there anything that they can do to really get involved?
Yeah, I think the best thing to get involved with us and learn about the food industry is really just to sit down and talk to us. I heard an earlier speaker mention the fact that you really need a mentor, and mentors are really important in this industry, especially given the large failure rate. So whenever we work with an entrepreneur, we try to give them a little bit of a sense of reality and tell them it's not going to be easy. And in your first product, which you thought was great because your Aunt Susan had this great dish she used to take to the church bazaars or whatever, is going to be very successful. And as we had said, 99 out of 100 times, it's going to fail. So we try to give them a good sense of reality, but we also encourage them to not just look for one product, but several products. But we will be doing some courses. COVID has kind of diminished our opportunity to start some coursework or short seminars. Once we get past some of this social distancing and face masking, we'll be back doing some live coursework, and it's a lot of hands-on.
That's great. It really all ties back to the community, like you said. Having that support system, having those mentors, having that group of individuals that really can just be there to bounce ideas off of, maybe connect you with your network. So it's great to hear that you do that as well. It seems like that is a common denominator across this group, which is maybe why we got everyone together. So thank you for that. Again, Bill will be at his table, so if you have any more questions, please visit Bill's table at the NC Food Innovation Lab during the networking. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Next, we have Megan Smith. Megan is the new director at the Small Business Center of Rowan Cabarrus Community College. She served her local community for the past 9 years through roles in county government and workforce development. Megan holds a master's degree from the University of South Dakota in administration with a double specialty in organizational leadership and HR management. When Megan's off the clock, she can be most commonly found chasing down her lovely but surprisingly fast 2-year-old son, Connor. Thank you for joining us, Megan.
Hi, thank you.
Hello. All right, so the Small Business Center. We've been talking a lot about startups, entrepreneurs, small businesses. Could you share with the audience what the Small Business Center is and how you plan to work together with the Cabarrus Center?
Sure. The Small Business Center is one of the best kept secrets in the state, so I'm happy to tell you more about it. Our primary purpose is to help start and grow small businesses. We're a part of a statewide network started in 1984. There's 60 small business centers across the state. And the primary ways that we go about plugging into the small business community is through offering free, confidential, one-on-one business counseling. That can be whether or not you want to bounce ideas off of a business counselor or whether you're at a stage where you're writing a business plan. We also offer a robust lineup of educational workshops and seminars with a diverse range of, we have like the building blocks of how to start a business. We also have things for people that are more in-depth in their journey, perhaps revamping your operations plan or just staying current with social media marketing. The third way that we really support our small business community is being a connecting piece. So we're looking to help refer and connect with our partner agencies, which is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about joining the Innovation Center.
Well, great. So you mentioned you're the connecting piece, which we all like to hear because it's a little bit tough to jump and do it yourself. So with you being the connecting piece, how have you been connecting with the community so far since joining the Small Business Center?
Well, there's nothing like joining in the middle of a pandemic. So a lot of those connections have been very virtual, as everybody understands. Just trying to share information. There's a lot of, as far as from a regulatory side for the small business community, things can be a little confusing right now. So just trying to share good information and reiterate those answers to connect them to our partner agencies like the Small Business Administration.
So do you have a rewarding or storytelling experience that you could share with us so far with any of the small businesses that you've connected with?
Absolutely. One of the things I realized when I started in this role was how inspiring small business owners really are. They're just brave and resilient people. So I started going door to door through the downtown areas, and just each place I stopped, I was just hearing another story, and those stories are absolutely the most inspiring part of my everyday.
I'm sure during this time, seeing people face to face was very excited for those brick and mortar businesses. So yes. I can only imagine that they wanted to just tell you everything, because that's how I feel. So we are extremely happy to have you as another member, in addition to the Chamber and the EDC, joining us at the Cabarrus Center. You mentioned being on that Main Street in Concord and being involved. Could you share what you're most excited about? What is the one thing you're most excited about being able to achieve as someone who is taking office in the Cabarrus Center?
I can't pick just one thing, but I guess just we're stronger together, and nothing says that better than this center and the coming together of these partners. So just the organic ability to collaborate, I think it's going to be amazing. The benefit to the small business community to have all these partners in one space, that's an incredible benefit. So I can't wait.
Well, I'm excited to hear you have that list, because I do as well. So you have a few upcoming events on there, but I know that you have a huge calendar of events that you can share with those that are coming to your table. Yes. You can share those resources. So if you are interested within the audience right now for any of the events coming up within the Small Business Center, or being able to speak to Megan, please visit her at her table. Megan, thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to connecting with you more in person at the center, as well as during this virtual networking. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next on stage, we're going to have Robin McIntyre. Robin has been in the Small Business and Technology Development Center for 11 years. She currently serves as the Regional Director for the Charlotte office, covering an 8-county region. Robin holds an MBA from Wingate University and a bachelor's in business from the Thomas Edison State College. Prior to joining the SBTDC, Robin spent most of her career running a $28 million specialty chemical division for a multinational company. During her time with the SBTDC, she completed the LEAD program, which is a leadership development program, and the Economic Development Finance Professional Certification. Robin also chairs the Continuing Professional Education Committee, which directs all training and staff development activities for the organization. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Danielle.
We're looking forward to working more with the Small Business Technology Development Center.
Yes,
it's
SBTDC
yes,
for short.
It is a mouthful. So SBTDC, that is a great shortened version of the name, and I'm sure you get that all the time.
Yes, and we're thrilled to be part of this effort. Just absolutely thrilled.
Fantastic. Could you share a little bit more about the SBTDC for those who don't know?
Sure. The SBTDC has been around since 1984. We provide one-on-one confidential business advising services for small and medium-sized companies and also entrepreneurs who are just starting out. Our counseling is offered at no fee. We're actually funded through state and federal tax dollars. The Small Business Administration funds about half of our program, and then the state of North Carolina. We have offices at each UNC campus across the state, including the HBCUs, 16 offices in total, so we cover all 100 counties. We have general business counselors who help with things like strategic planning, business plans, marketing plans, financial analysis, operational issues, all kinds of things. But we also have some specialized counselors that I'd like to tell folks about as well. So we have counselors across the state who help folks who are trying to sell to the government. So we call that our PTAC program, government procurement. And some of the government entities would be the city, for example, the city of Concord even, the county, the state, federal, and military. So we have counselors who are experts in that field and help companies get geared up to do that work. We have counselors that specialize in international business development. So they have resources and knowledge to help folks who are looking to expand into other markets across the globe. We have technology development, commercialization counselors who help folks who may be working with patents or other types of technology that they're trying to bring to the commercial market for the first time. And then we have strategy and growth services. They'll help people develop their strategic plan in depth, as well as other programs as well. So we have a significant team in this area. So out of the Charlotte office, we cover Mecklenburg County and the surrounding counties, which of course includes Cabarrus. We have 10 full-time folks dedicated to helping small businesses in this region.
Wow.
It's
so
a lot.
You have a very big reach for those that would be getting involved with the SBTDC. So how can people get involved? How can people whether it be work with these counselors, or just maybe they want to get involved and be a counselor? How can everyone get involved?
Sure. So the first thing they need to do is go to our website, sbtdc.org. There are tons of resources available to entrepreneurs and established businesses. We have publications that are available to download. We also have a registration form. It's a quick, easy form. All they need to do is fill that out, and we will reach out. As soon as we receive that, we'll reach out to them and get an appointment scheduled. So it is very easy to connect with us. We do have programming as well, which I didn't mention. So we do a multi-week cohort-based startup program called Taking the Leap. It was developed a couple of years ago and has been phenomenally successful. We run that across the state continuously, so folks are able to create a little bit of a bond with their classmates by going through this startup program. It's been very successful. So that's one of the programs that we are looking to offer here as well. Right now it's being offered online. So we also have the Investor Ready Entrepreneur Program, which has been around for a number of years, and is highly rated, and that's for folks to prepare for when they are seeking investment. So there are investors that are in the room and that they can talk with one-on-one to understand what they need to know, what the other side of the table is expecting them to be prepared with when they're looking to go for investment. So
That's a great experience. I know that that mock trial is nice to know what you're looking for in the future and what those specific what that specific audience needs from you. So that's a great resource, and we will be working together curating that programming with you to be able to offer that to the members within the Cabarrus Center. So I'm excited to be able to push that forward to our community. So working with small businesses, what has been your favorite experience, or what keeps you working in this industry?
So it is terribly rewarding. Again, there's no fee for our counseling, and we will be offering counseling hours from the center. So folks are very appreciative of us being there. I can tell you, through the pandemic, we are first responders, so we have been helping many companies with the CARES Act funding, the PPP and the EIDL loans. And folks are just so appreciative of just somebody answering the phone, to be honest, to having somebody on the other end of the line, helping them, walking with them through that process, because it can be overwhelming and a little bit intimidating. So I would just say it's just very rewarding work. The business owners are always very appreciative. And I personally probably have worked with a couple of thousand business owners in my tenure. We see a lot of business owners. We help pretty much every type of business that's out there we've worked with. So we get a real well-rounded view of the economy, the small business economy in the state.
That transitions into my next question. The word technology is in the name of the SBTDC. It doesn't sound like that's specific to the type of small businesses. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. So so the SBTDC and SBDC program is a national program. There's these services in every state, and we have a T in our name, which makes us a little bit unique. That indicates that we have a technology commercialization program. So we have counselors who are experts in that field and dedicated to help companies who are trying to bring technology to market. So they're knowledgeable in intellectual property. They're knowledgeable in all types of funding that is needed for that type of entrepreneur. And they're also experts in things like SBIR and STTR funding as well, which is a specialized type of funding for technology. So it's a specialized group of counselors that are available to businesses that are in that space.
Thank you. So I'm very excited to be able to share a lot of the programming that both Robin with SBTDC has and all of the program partners that we have. So if you see on the slide that there are some events that we have mapped out on the calendar, but they're not quite there yet, that's fine. We will be able to communicate with you all moving forward on our curated programming. So don't be alarmed if you don't see any dates there yet. Not a problem. We will work with Robin to get everything on the calendar from the Small Business Technology Development Center, as well as all of our other program partners. So thank you so much, Robin. It has really been fantastic to talk with you, and I'm excited to learn more.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we have one more program partner that we have here with us today. We have Natalie Williams. Natalie is a professional leader with extensive knowledge and experience in effective execution and implementation of policy, procedure, and programs. She has worked in both corporate America and the nonprofit industry, and prefers nonprofit industry because she feels that she can utilize more of her talents and abilities to give back to others. As the director of the Women's Business Center in Charlotte, Natalie is responsible for providing strategic direction and guidance for the WBCC's vision, developing training programs, counseling, mentoring, managing staff, and overseeing the budget. She collaborates with various resource partners and professionals to strengthen training programs for women entrepreneurs across a 12-county region of Charlotte. Under her leadership, the center has served 450 business owners with counseling, provided approximately 350 training events, trained over 4,400 clients with over 7,000 hours of classroom or workshop training. The center has been recognized and is the recipient of 2 proclamations by both the City of Charlotte's mayor and the City of Concord. Natalie holds a bachelor's degree in business management and enjoys giving back to the community, spending time with her husband of 32 years, 3 beautiful children, her 2 grandbabies, with her friends, and barbecuing. Thank you so much for joining us, Natalie.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we've gone through all the program partners so far. You've heard a lot of the questions, so I'm sure that you are ready to share what the Women's Business Center has to offer.
I am, and you saved the best for last.
Of course, of course. I can't pick favorites.
Yes. So we're the Women's Business Center of Charlotte. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are also funded by the federal government. We're funded by the SBA, as well as we're funded in a corporate agreement with the City of Charlotte. The Women's Business Center of Charlotte has been around for approximately 4 years. We have a host agency, which is the North Carolina Institute, which is located in Durham, North Carolina. And that Women's Business Center has been around for approximately 15 years or so. So we're here to provide one-on-one customized counseling for our clients, as well as networking opportunities. We focus really basically on the professional development of our clients because we understand small businesses really need help and support in the professional development area. So we have over 85 free workshops that we provide throughout the year. In addition to that, we provide 8 signature programs. Some of those programs are fee-based programs, but we do get sponsorship and scholarships from them. And so we provide that professional development, business development, and personal development for our small business community.
So thank you. We have a list of some of the events that you have coming up on the screen here. Could you share a little bit more? I'm interested in hearing about the 4th annual Heart of Women's Conference coming up in October.
Yes, thank you so much for asking about that. So the Heart of the Women's Conference is a very special holistic conference. Our conference allows us to deal with women on a holistic level. So we provide over 12 to 16 workshops throughout the day. That conference covers professional development, entrepreneur, lifestyle, mind and body, and as well as industry tracks. And the reason why it's holistic that way is because we realize that we have so many women that want to, one, come into an entrepreneur endeavor from corporate America, and they just don't really understand and know how to transition. Then 2, we have our moms that are home engineers, and they want to come out of working from home to coming to the entrepreneur arena, so we have that for them. We also have the die-hard entrepreneur woman who just needs help and support as she just navigates herself through this community of entrepreneurship. So this conference allows us the opportunity to meet every woman basically on every level that they are in. For this year, we have Janice Bryant Howard. Janice Bryant Howard is the CEO of Act One, which is a sourcing temp services, and she's net worth at about $540 million. And so she is going to be coming and talking to our women. We have a VIP section that we will be having with her on October the 21st at 7:30 p.m. It's a very special session, and she is going to impart on women the things that we really need, because a lot of times we as women, we put ourselves last instead of putting ourselves first, as we can all attest to that, right? So it's always the home, it's always the children and everything, and so oftentimes we put ourselves to in the back burner. So we want to talk about encouraging, empowering women. And then on October the 22nd, we have a full day of a conference that's going to take place, and we're going to have workshops throughout that day, 12 workshops. One of the things that is really dear to my heart this year is this conference is called Unapologetic. And we're going to be unapologetic about who we are. So many women have gone through mental abuse. We're in a pandemic. It's a lot of stress for a lot of women. And so we've had women who have been physically abused, women who have had mental illness. And so we want to show up strong. We want to show up and support women, number one, to realize that they're not alone, but to also know that they don't have to apologize for who they are and where they've come from. So we hope you join us on October the 21st and 22nd. And it's a virtual digital conference.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that you will have, hopefully you have some registrations from today for that. And Natalie has a whole list of upcoming events that she's going to be able to share at her table. Natalie, if you could leave one piece of advice to a business owner, what would that be?
I would say be yourself, be authentic and being genuine to yourself. Oftentimes we get a lot of small businesses that want to come in and conform and follow after other individuals. Your gift is what has given you the ability to work your passion. So work your passion, work your plan, and be productive in doing it.
I think that is a perfect way to end that, because
Yes.
you summed it all up. So thank you so much. Again, if you want to visit Natalie at her table, you can, and pick her brain with all the events that you can join and network in the future. So thank you so much, Natalie, for
You're
joining us.
welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was all for our community program partners right now. But as I mentioned previously, we have several other organizations beyond those who are on the panel today that will be collaborating to support the Cabarrus Center. We will be introducing them in the coming months at our future events and throughout the event programming that we will curate. To see a full list of the program partners, you can visit the Cabarrus Center website. If you're interested in getting involved, whether it be becoming a member, sponsoring, or just participating in the Cabarrus Center, please visit our website at cabarruscenter.com, follow us on social media, and subscribe to the newsletter to learn more. As we alluded to before, we do have a couple upcoming events that will lead up to our opening in December. Our first one, or our next one I should say, this is our first. Our next one is October 13th. It's going to be a similar style where it is virtual as well as live for the presenters, and it's going to take place at the Gibson Mill in Concord, North Carolina. You can register for that right now on our website. And November 5th, we're hoping to have an in-person hard hat tour of the Cabarrus Center. So fingers crossed there that we're able to get everyone in person. We may be able to figure out a way to do it digitally if we can't. But you can register for these events and keep an eye out for what is to come on our website. And now it's time to network. All right, so we hope you enjoyed the main stage presentation with all of our presenters and panelists. You can now meet them. We're gonna go into we're gonna go into networking mode. So it's going to remove the disabled microphones and cameras. So please make sure to turn them back on so that way you can get the most out of this event and participate, speak with these program partners, learn a lot more, and meet some of the other attendees in this space as well. You just double click on the chair at the table to rejoin another table. You can also chat with them in the chat box, but make sure to turn your cameras and microphones on as a reminder. So thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to connecting over the next hour. We will conclude at 2 p.m., but we look forward to seeing you at our next